Call the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Chairman, the Honourable Nick Smith got to his feet, I thought, to answer my questions. I thought that's good. Minister's on the ball, he's well informed, he knows what the answer to the question was. Did you hear, Mr Chairman, what the answer to the question was when we knew this was going to happen for 9 years? Why the regulatory impact statement says that options have been ruled out because the legislation has come so late to the House. We have not been obstructing this bill. Ask the Chairman of the Select Committee. We've been very cooperative in trying to pass it. But I've got to say, this is a pretty shoddy job. The Minister says that it's well drafted. Mr Speaker, for heaven's sake, this is a 4-clause bill, and one of the clauses they got wrong, and it took the Legislation Advisory Committee and its submission to the House to bring it back to say, hey, if you put this clause in, you create a defence so nothing could be match fixing for the purposes of making money. It wasn't well drafted, unfortunately. It had an out. It said that it doesn't apply to match fixing when match fixing is for tactical or strategic sporting reasons. Why, Minister, did you put that into the bill? Because the Legislation Advisory Committee said that creates a loophole that you could drive a railway train through. So, first of all, this bill is late to the House, so late that the government itself confesses we couldn't have a comprehensive piece of legislation to do the job. And secondly, when they bring the bill to the House, it's actually, it's only got about 50 lines, and three of them actually would have defeated the other 47. Well, I don't call that effective. I don't call that good law drafting. I don't call that a good job by the Minister. But I want to come back to another question that was raised by Mr Mallard, and that is that this bill by itself, of course, just isn't going to do the job that we want it to do. And that is, if this bill is to work, you need a coordinated strategy. You need legislation. You need sporting codes in each of the major sporting organisations. They need to be mutually consistent, and they need to be consistent with this bill. Well, sadly, we didn't have any of the sporting organisations before the committee to talk to the committee about that. So, but yeah, this is what I picked up, and this is a note that I took in the Select Committee, Mr Chairman. It was from the advice we got that the lifetime ban by a sporting body may be more effective in disincentivising match fixing than the penalties that are set out here under the match fixing legislation that amends the Crimes Act. So obviously what we were told is that things other than this legislation would be absolutely vital, but I want to hear from the Minister, not the sort of politicised response that he gave before that said absolutely nothing. I want from the Minister some outline of what work has been done with those sporting organisations to find out whether the things that are really necessary to prevent match fixing have been done, have been coordinated by the government or Sports New Zealand, and will be effective in stopping the scourge of match fixing and the money that can be made out of that. We were told, of course, that if things went wrong in this Cricket World Cup, that would be badly damaging to the reputation of New Zealand. I accept that. So what I wanted actually was comprehensive legislation, yet the government has said we don't have time to do it. 9 years isn't long enough. And secondly, I want to know that the other pieces of the jigsaw are there and do come together, and we can go forward next year into an International World Cricket Cup knowing that all of the rules are in place because Sports New Zealand and the Minister of Sports have done their job and can assure us that that's the case. I want a proper answer, Minister. I don't want any political flam. I don't want an attack on this party or that party. I simply want to know whether you or the Minister that you're representing has done their job. And I haven't heard that in your explanation, to be fair. I haven't heard it, and I haven't heard yet why you've taken so long. And while you're thinking about those questions, it says here this approach, because it's not the comprehensive approach, will only substantially reduce the risk. So there's still risk there because it's not a comprehensive approach. Well, I want to know how big that risk is. The regulatory impact statement says our preferred approach is proportionate to the level of the risk. What is the level of the risk? You know what the cost of match fixing was in 2010? $140 billion. That's a lot of money, $140 billion. So is this answer, this rushed little piece of legislation, proportionate?